Okay, we can start now. Hi everybody, thank you all for dropping by. Just a few words before we officially start the workshop. So just to let everybody know, we will be filming this for our own record. This video will also be passed along to Miss Jenny for her own video as well. If any of you are not comfortable with being filmed, please let us know. We will blur you guys out from the video lah. So just let my team at the back and the computer area know if you're not comfortable. One other thing is we did have a RSVP form that you guys kindly fill in for us. For those who have not filled in your attendance, you can do so at the computer at the front. I have one boy there helping do attendance. So each of you guys who have signed up with RSVP with us will also get to enjoy 15% off our Shure products today. So the microphone or whichever of the Shure products get 15% off. Anything else that is regular price items, so like mixers if you all need, or recorders or anything stuff, they will be going for 10% off. Only for you guys. Can? So it was a deal I asked my boss lah. Alright, so I guess I shall start. Hi everybody, my name is Timothy. I am part of the sales staff at City Music. I'm also the one that helped Miss Jenny and the other lady, I forgot her name, sorry, Amanda, to start using the Shure microphone system, specifically the MV7, which I understand most of you have some experience with already, but not very clear lah. So which is what we are here for today. So just to share with you, or just to let you guys roughly know, the sound you heard from the speaker earlier, it sounds good. Does it sound okay? Sounds studio-like, right? That was actually this piano playing. The microphone is over there now. So this is the kind of sound you can expect to hear from the microphone if you do it properly. Or rather, this is what it's capable of. Nothing too complicated. I literally just aim the thing there and you hear the sound. All the other editing and treatment that you will do will be done within the app, which is of course what we're here to talk about lah. Alright, so before that, any questions you guys would like me to answer before the end of the workshop? I understand I had some of the questions already, but you guys are here lah. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. We'll be doing a Q&A at the end. So other than my technical stuff, I've also asked Ms. Jenny to help answer any questions you guys may have about the evaluation, what they want to see when you upload your videos and stuff like that lah. So a little bit more relevant for you guys. Okay? Hey, so this is of course the City Music Piano Recording Workshop, how to record your piano for evaluation. Simplest question I guess everybody will have, like, what do you actually need lah? At the end of the day, all you need is a camera. Can be a phone, can be a pro camera like the ones we have at the back, or a webcam, as simple as a webcam. Which you guys will need for your evaluation. Microphone, which is my area. You can use USB microphone, which is the MV7 microphone that you guys have been talked about, or either the professional microphone and equipment. So that will include like audio mixing board, that kind of stuff. And then the last thing will be something to record into. So you guys will already know you guys ideally would like to go into your phone, right? Easy to record, easy to upload. You guys are not doing much editing and stuff. So at the end of the day, that's all you really need. There are many different USB types, USB-C, Lightning, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, they're all the same thing. So it's just connection cable. You just need to find the one correct for your mobile device. There are also external recording devices. So for us, you see on your left, we have the brand Zoom. So they also have other recording stuff. You can record directly onto there while aiming it at your piano. So it's like a microphone/recorder combination. You don't need to, if you're not doing any editing to begin with, you can just upload there, done. But there are no effects, so if you want to add effects and stuff, that will be separate. Whether or not it's appropriate for the evaluation, that one I guess we'll leave to Miss Jenny to say lah. If you want to do any live stream, can lower my gain a bit. If you want to do any OBS, any live stream, you have to go to an external live stream software. So I will show you guys a little bit what that looks like. We are also recording into that at the moment. Okay, so why a microphone external audio equipment? I guess the first time you guys were told to buy, you must be wondering why, right? Like, I can just put my phone there for what? Well, I can show you a video example later, but in general it's because at the end of the day, our mobile devices, our phones, our laptop, our iPad, whatever, they are not meant for quality recording, audio or playback. They are meant to let you hear your phone call and your voice be heard through your phone call. Quality is not a priority. So which is why it's really not meant for that lah. So which is why you need an external audio stuff if you want to have high quality audio recording. So what are your options? Depending on how you plan to use it. So it can be easy. I call it easy, medium, and advanced. Easy is most of what you guys have been doing so far, which is simple quality recording, send to someone. That's it. Nothing much. Medium would be if you want to do a bit of editing, and then advanced, of course, is broadcast quality lah. So if you guys want to like, you feel confident in your piano skills, or you want to like play for an audience online, that will be at the advanced portion. So during easy modes, who are the kind of people you may think to yourself? You may see one of the requirements, see if it applies to you lah. So if you are going to do casual recording, like, oh, I'm inspired to write this song, I want to record for fun, you can do so. One take recording. So obviously you guys are sending in for evaluation, so you can't chop your performance. That's not fair for anyone. So it's one take recording, solo person recording, which is to say you're just recording yourself. Most of the time, I suppose you guys are. But if for some reason you have another friend who wants to play along with you, you guys manage to get your stuff together, want to do together, it will be a little bit trickier. Not impossible, but trickier. And also on the go recording. So if you are a traveling person, you have a keyboard with you, you want to go record in the hotel room somewhere, you want to record in some impromptu location somewhere, this would typically fall under the easy part. Typical equipment use, USB microphone, Bluetooth microphone, or is external recorder, which means to say the Zoom ones, which is the recorder / microphone combination. Bluetooth microphone, I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but you can. I have tried it. Have you guys seen those like not podcasters, those vloggers with those small microphones on their body? Back in the past, they are typically not good enough. They can barely record a human voice properly. But in 2025, there are now a lot of options. Some famous ones like the DJI mics, the Rode mics, Holyland mics, even for ours, we have some brands as well. You just stick them to a more central location of where the sound is on the piano. Make sure it's not too loud. You can record really. It's literally as simple as that. And they are usually like this small. Yeah. But again, out of the three, they have the kind of the lowest audio quality. They're still good, they're decent, but in terms of quality, they are not the highest, but it's convenient. So common models, the Shure MB microphone, we have some Samsung USB microphones, Mackie USB microphones, the Zoom recorders. Again, for you guys right here, it's 10%. If not, other days will be subject to discounts. So what are the pros and cons? Number one, it's easy to set up, literally plug, done. Most affordable way, because most of the time you're just buying that one thing, that one microphone. Cables, usually it comes with it, either that or go to an IT shop, buy a USB cable, very affordable, like $10, $20. The cons, you cannot scale up or change things. So let's say if you use this USB microphone, even though it's been hyped to you so much, like, hey, actually I don't like this sound, or it does not suit me. But all you just don't like is that one little thing. You have no choice but to change the whole thing, which is another like $200-$300 investment, or $400 if you're using Shure. So, not to say it's impossible to scale or change, but there aren't many things that you can replace to affect the quality. Changing the USB cable is not going to do much for you. You can position things differently, which I'll get back into, which will affect the sound, but again, nothing much. And you need to follow up with current device compatibility. Nowadays, smartphones come out once every year. So every year, compatibility changes, requirement changes. So if you're not following up, even if you buy, let's say, a common question that we get when people come in is, what's your best or what's your newest microphone? But their mobile phones like 8 years ago. So they don't really, they're not compatible anymore. So then they have to change their phone. Yeah, so that's kind of the pros and cons. Medium. So medium difficulty is for home-based musicians, producers. So if you guys get a little bit more into it once you've done your recording, you guys want to do editing. So maybe you can do what we call a punch-in, which is to say you record a whole section, but only that 10 seconds in the middle you're not happy with, you can just re-record over the 10 seconds. But you need a software for that. So a software is usually what we call a digital audio workstation, which is in the second part. And then multi-sources recording. So again, back to my example of you with a friend, if you guys want to, like maybe one person sing and one person play the piano, or two piano players or two singers, however it is, you can do so with a USB microphone, but then you need to get USB hub and then make sure it's all level and all that kind of thing. In 2025, it's easier than ever, but it's a little bit trickier to get stuff. Typical equipment used will be wired microphones, so traditional professional microphone. You need microphone cables, of course, and then you need an audio interface. So an audio interface is essentially something that takes in your real world sound and turn it into a computer data. They can be as affordable as less than $100 all the way up to a couple thousands. Yeah, a couple thousands. And then of course the software. Typical models, I'm sure you guys already heard of SM58, SM57. There's also other brands like Sennheiser, Audio-Technica, and Zoom as well. So these are actual microphones. Some of them have USB equivalents, which in this case is kind of the MV7 as well. So these are the USB equivalent of the wired microphones. Pros and cons. Pros, equipment is more easily found. If you come back to City Music, we have almost everything. So you guys need anything, just come here. Able to scale things up and down. So for example, go back to my example, if you like the sound of the microphone, but it's too short, just buy a longer microphone cable. If you don't need a new microphone cable, you don't like the sound of the microphone, just change the microphone. You can keep your audio interface. If you believe the audio interface is hindering your recording, it's not good enough for whatever expensive mic you have, you don't have to change the mic, you just change the interface, which can be affordable to like less than $100 to thousands. So these are all the things that you can change up and down, left and right, without much change to your existing setup. Cons, you'll need a bit more knowledge. So you're gonna have to know what works, what doesn't, but that is usually where we come in. So again, come by City Music, we can answer your questions. Pricier, but still affordable. So it's definitely gonna be more expensive than buying another USB microphone, but you can still be kept affordable. Right? We will send these slides to all you guys later as well. Yeah. So everything that I've gonna show you and we have talked about, you guys can watch on Miss Jenny. I'll check with Miss Jenny for it, right? Okay. So advanced stuff. This is straight up pro things really, which depending on your existing profession, you may not ever go into. But if you do, recording for editing purposes, so it's straight up like album type recording things. So if you want to record an album, you can record an album at your home in 2025. It is not a problem. The editing will take a little bit more knowledge, but it can be done at home as well. Home studios are very, very popular nowadays because everything's small, relatively affordable, and no one has, especially in Singapore, no one has space for a big studio. So a lot of times, I would say Singapore is probably one of the countries that's best suited for setting up for a small studio because we have no choice. We do have the luxury of a big studio for all of us. But since COVID, the most common reason is for live streaming. If you guys are interested in doing live streaming, or even that maybe playing live for your teacher, like you want to do like a live lesson, then you guys need to hear your teacher and your teacher hear you. So that will kind of fall under the advanced portion. The typical equipment used, same thing. Microphone, same thing. Audio interface, same thing. Extra things you'll need will be like the software you use to stream. So it can be Zoom meeting, Teams meeting, OBS, Facebook Live, so on and so forth. You will need some form of lighting, depending on what you want to do. If you're going to do like a production like us, where for some reason I have 6 lights for me, it's good, but of course not practical for most people at home. Then a video capture card. So cameras, not webcams, but professional cameras, they need something like a video interface. So it's for cameras, something essentially to translate it into data for your computer to take in. Common models, microphones are still more or less the same thing. You don't need to change your microphone much between the medium and advanced section. So again, it's easily found. You will need extra things like audio interface, mixers if you have multiple things. Pros and cons, more or less same thing. Requires even more knowledge, however, than the medium difficulty. And it's pricier. Definitely gonna be pricier. So you guys, if you want to go into there, just look for us. So this is to give you all a rough idea of how the professionals actually do it. So I understand most of the time you guys are just gonna use one microphone, because why would you use more than one? But in the real pro world, they have typically bare minimum is two. One is if they're being experimental, or two, they don't have the budget for it. So even pro studios sometimes they get a lot of money, but their budget is not there enough to cover. So why two? Two because number one, we have 2 ears, so left and right stereo. So at the end of the day, all recording is to simulate you being there with the thing wherever you are. So you want to create things that's what I mean by natural recording lah. Right? So it can be done in the extreme way, like extreme left, extreme right, but most of the time you will have 2 or 3. So usually one is more on the bass side, and then one is more on the treble side. Depending on the specific tone of the piano that you have, maybe a little bit less left, so you get less bass, but then more on the treble, so it sounds a bit brighter, or rather less muddy, if you would, on the bass side lah. So be it grand piano, upright piano, it was almost always aimed at the soundboard, because that's where the sound is. If you're speaking into a microphone, you aim it at your mouth, not anywhere else. Depending on the build of a piano, of course, there are different locations. Some of you guys are unable to remove the front, so of course, obviously, most of the time I recommend you just stick your mic in and then adjust the sound according to taste. This is another way. So again, one microphone. I believe there's another behind his head, but yeah. If not, one microphone or 2 microphones at the front, wherever sounds best on the piano. So there is no one fixed way of recording. People may advise you on this, advise you on that. I will advise you on this, I will advise you on that. But at the end of the day, there is no fixed way. It depends on, most of you guys play acoustic pianos, right? Not digital ones. So acoustic piano is affected a lot by the environment. If you are playing in a small room, it sounds different from you playing the same piano in a big room. So how you position your mic accordingly will reflect that requirement. Yeah, so essentially point it to wherever it is and then adjust according to what you want. The further away it is from the source, the less bass you have. So there is a term called equalization, EQ. So I want less bass, I want treble, I want more brightness, more whatever. That can already be done without adjusting any knobs. That can literally be done by you adjusting the microphone physically. So putting it nearer gets you more bass and it's louder, putting it further away gets you less bass and it's softer. That can be done by you without any specialized knowledge. So that is how simple it can be. Alright, so this is a short video of like a studio. So there are 2 sources here, 3. One upright piano, one singer, and then a sitar, an Indian instrument. Sorry? Background noise, yes. So background noise is another. I don't know if it's an actual requirement to not hear any background noise at all in your evaluation, but yes, there is one of the drawbacks. Another one is, again, I don't know if it's a requirement to see your face and your fingers. Yeah. So in order to get a better sound, I need to put the microphone nearer to the piano. But I can't see my manager's face. Yeah, and I can barely see his hands. I purposely aim it so I can see his hands, but I can't see his face. So that obviously is the first limitation of using just your phone, other than the sound. So then the next one. That being said, disclaimer, I didn't position the camera, so it's still the same angle. But this is just through the microphone of the MV7. Better? Yeah. So the actual positioning of the mic that time was roughly the same as this. but I placed it a little bit more haphazardly, so can be better, but obviously it already sounds better than just through the iPad microphone. Okay, so this is something new versus the MV7 mic that you guys have, some of you have already bought. This is the new MV7i. So other than the microphone itself and a USB, you can also plug in a cable. Not that relevant for you guys because you are using acoustic pianos. There's no line out to speak of lah. But in my instance, like I'm using a digital piano. There's a headphone out. There's also a line out lah, which is to say I can record the sound onto an external recorder without the microphone. I still need a microphone to use it as an interface, but the sound will be recorded dry. So no microphone. It won't be affected by how you position the microphone. It won't be anything at all lah, because it's essentially just plugging into another thing. But you can hear the difference. So this is as dry as a signal as you can get. No matter where I put the microphone, no matter where it is, the sound will still be the sound because it's directly going to the mic. Can be a bit dry, which is where adding effects will come in lah. So I know some of you asked me about the reverbs, the hall and the stuff. I'll get into that later. Those can be used to simulate space. But at the end of the day, they don't necessarily replace the real thing, the real space of where you're at. Can be good, can be bad. If the sound of your space is bad, then obviously no point lah. But if you're in a nice space, having the real reverb is almost always going to be better than digital type. But we make do with what we have lah, which is where the next point comes in. So this, the last video will be done. It was recorded with both. So with this specific microphone, I can record the microphone and then whatever that's going in. So what's the point of that? With the line in, the pros of it is I can hear everything. Whatever that's being played, it will be recorded. But it sounds dry, it sounds lifeless, depending on the player lah. But with the real mic, you can blend in a little bit of both. On the software, on the app itself, you can record, you can mix it. So for example, the microphone will be louder, the line in will be lower. So that way you still get some natural sound, but you know what's actually necessary, which is your musical notes, will be heard. So you can blend in a bit more realism and then more of the fundamental, or the other way around if you don't want too much of the air of the room sound. But this was done 100%, so this is like equal for both lah. So through this method, you kind of get the best of both worlds. But again, you guys are doing acoustic piano, so not relevant for you guys at this stage. But that is how I read that there were some questions people asking how do people do it in the studios. People in real studio, they record acoustic piano also, until they don't. But people will on album recordings, people are always looking for realism, for natural sounds. Unless of course the genre changes it. But most of the time, especially for acoustic guitar, so I'm more of a guitar player than a piano player. But how people record acoustic guitar is the same as how they record acoustic piano. You either fully microphone in a but it has to be in a controlled environment. Or if there's a pickup in the guitar, you plug the thing onto the mixer, and then you put another microphone, and then the sound engineer will blend both. because when you're playing the guitar, it's obviously more important to hear the guitar. But again, too dry, very weird sounding. It doesn't feel natural. So that's where we blend both. So if I'm wondering, oh, how do I get the best of both worlds if I want to record it? You kind of have no choice but to do both. So that is just the recording part. Then after that, it moves on to the editing stuff, which if you are interested, I can share it with you guys. But if not, we'll move on. iPad recording. This is a reminder of the first one. Right? Okay, so this is the why of, in general, like why you want to have a actual dedicated microphone for all these things. And this is how we get into the actual thing itself. So how to use the apps. Yes.
So you play back on the phone, it sound like iPad, no matter how good is the microphone.
Essentially, so one slight detail about that, when sound engineers are recording the stuff, mixing is one thing, but there's a stage called mastering. So when people buy studio monitors, they don't just have one pair of good ones. Not so much those, but more of those behind you. Yeah. So when mastering engineers are finalizing the song, let's say the song recorded, everything nice, beautiful, effects all added in already, they have generally two types of speakers that they use: a really good one and a really bad one. Correct. So you want to be able to edit, for the sound engineers, the mastering engineers, they want to be able to edit their music to be heard on really good systems and then to be heard on really bad systems. The first example of this back in the day would be radio. Radio by itself is a terrible carrier of signal, but we make do with what we got. So just like the phone, they must keep the priorities in mind. Number one, our human voice is very limited, so it kind of falls within a certain range. When they edit, they target that range. Anything else that is not it, they take away. So that on the radio, your voice can be heard through the radio. And then the volume. Smartphone come out, or rather lousy Bluetooth speakers phone come out, then our phone come out. They have to do other forms of adjustments. Then now we have streaming. Our music on YouTube, or music on Spotify, anything that's essentially not bought, they are almost always slightly inferior quality. Because the thing that you have to remember about sound is, at the end of the day, it's a file size. If it's too big, your phone or your laptop, whatever, cannot process quickly. So it's not good. So in order to do that, they need to remove information. So that's where all these different things come in. So yes, to your question, no matter how good your thing is, if it's not done properly for a phone, it will still sound like shit. But our quality has gotten a little bit better over time, because it's not so much that they have mastered specifically for certain types of environment, but our hardware is also getting a little bit better. It will never replace dedicated stuff and big speakers, but again, as consumers, it's a compromise within ourselves. So hope that answers your question.
So if I assume, say I have an audio file watching for YouTube video of playing,
If you are an audiophile listening to music, you will not be listening on YouTube. No matter if it's YouTube Premium or whatever, right? Because there's only so much that YouTube can offer. Most of the time, the music listened to is not streamed already. It's downloaded already. Yeah. But yes, it will only sound as good as your speakers. So if you're listening to the best, like hi-fi with a tube preamp and all kind of thing, if your speaker is like this size and not like premiumly made, so it can be good at this size. Not to say that it has to be big, but it's very rare and very expensive. Yeah, so it will essentially only sound as good as the speaker you have. Just like the piano can only sound as good as the player. So if I play versus your play, the result is so different. Which is why I would rather be at the side helping you adjust the microphone rather than me playing the microphone. The piano. Yeah. Yes, so before we move on to the Shure section, anyone has any general questions about recording, audio stuff? No? Okay, so the main thing for today is how to use the Motif apps. So, yes. Yes. Can? You just email me lah, then I'll play later. Or you have it here now lah. Okay lah. But video you using what phone ah? Oh. Can I would say for the sake of the screen, maybe just email me the thing. Yeah. Then we'll watch later lah. Yes. So, in case any of you guys are not too aware who Shure is, Shure has been a microphone since 1925. This is the actual 100 years anniversary. We are doing the 100 year anniversary celebration later part of this year. When May June period. So if you guys are interested, we are hosting another event. They have made microphones for professional use, military use, and consumer use. The USB stuff. Trusted and reliable brand. Okay, so in order to use the app, which is how you guys want to record, what do you need? Number one, you need a Shure USB microphone. It can be the MV88, which I understand some of you have already. It can be the MV7, it can be the MV7i. At the end of the day, it just has to be a Shure USB product. Because if you plug in anything else, it will not detect the thing. So no use. You need a smartphone or a laptop. Right now it's going to my iPad. I can also use the computer as well, the laptop. And then a USB-C cable and a relevant adapters. So what you'll come with if you buy the mic is a C to C cable. Or C to A. In order to go into my iPad, you'll need a separate adapter. Yeah. I understand I'm not using a Shure one now, but our general advice here is always buy the original Shure one. Do not buy the non-official type because they may not work. Then you waste your money. Happened to us a lot of time. The adapter. Yeah. The cable is fine. It's the adapter. Yeah. Yes, so in 2025, these are the requirements of the phone and the iPad. So iOS 16, Android 12, Windows 10, and Mac OS 12. Right now, most of us are like what? iOS probably 18 or 17 now. Android is 14. Yeah. So, still okay. But cannot use 2.0. So the two types that you guys will probably encounter when you guys come to us looking for it will be the MV7 Plus, which some of you already have, and then MV7i, which is the newer one. So what are the similarities and differences? Mostly everything is the same except for the inputs. So on the MV7i it's just the mic. On the MV7 Plus is just the mic. MV7i you have the line in as well. Okay. Not so much that, but as in yes, you cannot plug, but you still can use the mic. Yeah, but you will pay more, so that's the last thing, which is more important. $449 for the MV7, and then $569 for the MV7i as of right now. Yeah, the reason why I didn't show you guys that time was because I haven't released it. Yeah, but so for this specific purpose that you guys are here for, which is recording for your piano evaluation, the line in is not really of use for you guys. But if you guys have like an acoustic guitar that you want to record together at the same time, not the best results, but that's what it's for. That's the line in. Yeah. Advantage. Yeah. So the only advantage is freedom of choice. Yeah. So yeah. But you are essentially paying a little bit more for the possibility that you may use it. Because if you suddenly need, it's not there, then you need to buy another thing. So it's just that situation. On the 7i is the headphone. On the MV7, oh, I pressed wrong. Oh, right. The MV7 Plus has the XLR out, so I forgot to mention. So this is the back of the two respective mics. So on the MV7i is the headphone. One out. On the MV7 Plus, you can use the headphone out, but you can also use it like a normal microphone. So this thing, you can connect to an actual like pro audio equipment. Yeah, on this is just headphones. So if you want to go on stage, you got invited as a singer, you are comfortable with this mic, you really want to use this mic, you can just use this mic and then use a regular microphone cable. You can use it as a normal mic, but you don't get the effects and all these things. So all the advantages that the software will give you will not be applicable on the XLR out. You can only do it if you go through the USB out. But if that's a situation, there's probably a guy with the equipment to help you do your voice anyways. So not that big of a deal. But that is the difference. So connection is the same, inputs are obviously different, the outputs are different, both have the same app control. The app controls are the same. Except on the MV7 Plus you only have one section. On the MV7i you have two sections for the two inputs. Yeah, so there's a two difference. So what are the apps available? So for video, you guys, which are what you guys are mostly going to be using, is on the last section. Can take video. And motive audio is only just audio. The editing, not editing, the features are the same, but you don't get to record audio lah. You can record video. And then there's motive mix. So motive mix is only available on the laptop. So yeah, just to show you guys what the desktop laptop version look like. This is the software. So earlier I had plugged in the mic just to show you guys. So this is what you look like when you plug in the microphone. So you will see the one side is for the MV7i microphone, the other side is the input. So you can control them individually. Just like your hand on the mixer board like that. You can adjust individual things. Then this is the output. So you can route the audio and do everything within a computer. The recording, the streaming, the everything. But you have to go through this app lah. So on this is only on the computer. Computer, that's laptop, yeah. It's called Motive Mix. So it's a completely different app from the other two that I will show you guys later. Yeah, so I can't do the thing, but help me mute this channel first. So I just plugged in into the laptop. So right now it's picking up my voice. I'm speaking quite loudly, so it can pick up a little bit. Yeah, right now the meter you're seeing is the mic, the MV7 itself. And then on the settings will be this. So on the MV7 Plus you won't get to see the input. You'll only see the mic. Which I guess if you guys have already downloaded the app, the words, you may not know what the words mean, but they may look a bit familiar to you now. You have gain, compressor, limiter, tone, reverb, so on and so forth. With the MV7i, this is an added feature. So they kind of have a preset mode for speech, singing, or instrument. The main thing that does all these presets is already on the original software itself with the MV7 Plus. But with this, it's just one tap of a button lah. Yeah. No, but this will be in the software if you want to download lah. And then this is the input, same thing. And then global. Right, so this is the desktop version. Everybody, just give me a moment. Here we go. Okay. So on the mobile version, what you will see will be so this is obviously the main screen of the iPad, and then this is the audio setting, which if you realize is exactly the same as the desktop. It is also the same as the MV7. So on the global, you get to see the reverb setting at the front. You guys have questions about the different types of reverb, right? Like what's the difference? Okay. In general, they are referring to the size of the space that you're trying to simulate. You can be in a small room, you can be in the controlled studio, you can be in a big hall. So for the sake of this demonstration, I will show you guys. So just for the sake of comparison, this is the studio sound. Don't unmute my mic. Okay. Uh, hmm. Let me try something. iPad. Hmm. Okay, I think for some reason there is a technical difficulty, but I will stop the mirroring first. Okay. So cannot see the thing first lah, but right now this is the sound of the studio in 100%. This is the sound of a plate. A bit brighter, a bit longer. This is the sound of a hall. So like as if you're in a not a big hall lah, but like a mini cathedral kind of thing. So all these are meant to help give a sense of space for your recording, as opposed to something going directly into your ear, right? So this is, I suppose, the main thing that we are all here to find out. What do the terms mean? So check. Okay, so mic gain is referring to the sensitivity of the microphone. So right now you're hearing this at about 12 dB. I really wish I can show you guys. Let me try again. Okay, very good. So, sorry for the technical difficulty. Okay, so on the what gain refers to is the sensitivity of the microphone. So, how much you adjust will affect how far you should put your microphone away. In a way, microphones are like ears, so it doesn't matter how where you position the microphone per se, but it's more of if the source is soft and far away with a higher gain, you are more likely to hear it. So it is not the same as volume, but it will affect how much it captures. So that is the gain. It can change depending on your piano itself and how you play. That time when I was doing the setup for both of them, the settings were a little bit different, but the general advice is always to start low first. So start from 0, do a test recording. If you like it, good. If you think it needs to be more sensitive, louder, you can up the gain. I would typically recommend maybe 2x2, 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 2 dB, 2 dB, 2 dB, to prevent any unwanted distortion or like damage to your ears. Right? So if there is no default, the default that you should do is start from 0. Then you slowly work your way up. Well, that I don't know, because different manufacturer have different. It's not even just manufacturer. Manufacturer preference is one, but the manufacturer of the microphone is also another. So one brand of mics can be spread out to different phone companies for all we know. Or no. The amount of, we're talking about using the app to go into your phone or our phone's microphone. They all start from 0. So start from 0, then work your way up. Because you can't necessarily judge it based on what you hear. I mean, you can, But it could be like if our phone speakers are not good or damaged, you can't hear properly. Then yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Lor. So don't be too worried about remembering what number is what number. Just remember the rough principles, which again I will share with you at the later part also. It's just as with anything audio related, start from zero, then work your way up, because we only get to damage our ear once. So yeah. So start from zero, which is safe, and then you slowly work your way up lah. So okay, so for example, right now I can adjust zero. You can hear the difference. I never adjust. I'm not adjusting my piano. So if I work my way up, and that will happen. So always slowly work your way up. It's always different depending on where you are and how loud your source is. For example, if you want to really put it, I would say it's not so much what phone you're using, it's what piano you're playing. Certain pianos are perhaps louder than others, so it doesn't require that much gain. Okay, so that is that. Auto level. What is auto level? So volume, or rather the perceived volume of what we hear, goes through a lot of things. How loud the source is, how sensitive the receiver, which is the one hearing, is, and also how stable the sound going is, which is controlled by a lot of things. If you don't know anything about those, put to auto level. So the app itself will do it for you. But the thing about auto leveling is, which as a person that does this for a very long time, it does not give you flexibility. Because again, everybody's requirement is different. The auto leveling is more like a broad steps. So they do everything for you roughly. But they don't think about the specific of what you are doing. So to me, it's not very useful. But for you guys to just get over the first hump, to get you started into doing it, I can try first and see how it goes for you lah. Yeah. So because you see on the app itself, right? When you do auto level, you got no more setting, which for better or for worse, I guess lah. But a lot of the things that they do cover up is quite useful in terms of music recording. Yeah. Just keep in mind, if I'm like talking so bad about auto level, then what's the point? Number one is also for people who don't know what to do, and also this is technically meant as a podcast type microphone. So a lot of it, if you're talking, human speech is a little bit more dynamic, less dynamic than playing. Especially you guys, if you are playing like classical pieces, or whatever, there's a very wide dynamic range, which is hard to capture when everything is squished into a very narrow bandwidth of sound. So not the most useful lah. Which is also why the other features in the thing is also not useful for piano recording. Yeah. Okay. Back. Okay. Good point. Next point. Okay. Sorry for that. I guess Apple is not that good at switching back and forth between the screen mirroring. Okay, limiter. So just as we unfortunately encountered, our ears have a limit to what we can withstand. So if it's too loud, it will damage our ears lah. So same for the limiter. So for the microphone, there is a set-in limit that it can receive the sound. Once it reaches a certain amount of volume, it cuts off, which is good. It's also useful for you guys because I don't think you guys will play that loud. But it's there lah. Just set it to the default setting that the app gives you. If not, just turn it off. So compressor, tone, and reverb. So the compressor is actually the limiter and the compressor are the ones that work together to be in the auto leveling for you guys. So what is a compressor? A compressor is, let me try and break it down as simple as I can. It brings up the lowest volume. So let's say in my talking, the lowest volume I have is roughly this volume. The highest volume I can talk is about this volume. Once the compressor is set, everything is more narrowed down. So even if I exceed this volume that I'm talking right now, it will never seem that much louder because it will cut off. But it will make my sound a little bit more distorted. For electric guitar is a good thing. For like acoustic piano playing, not the best. For speech, it is good because you don't have to worry about a person's whispering and then shouting because everything will be narrowed. So just like your finger on the mixer board, if the guy is talking too loud, you don't have to suddenly bring him down, and if the person is too soft, you bring him up. This does it for you. Can I explain that a little bit simpler? Do you all need me to explain it a little bit simpler? Can I? Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So it's the limiter also, but it's mostly the compression, which is why I told you guys to turn off the thing, either that or put it to the light compression. Yeah. So turn off, or if really need be, you can put it to light. Yes. Yeah. To ensure that it's uninterrupted from any of the extra things. Uh, when you are playing, there are certain dynamics. I don't know if it's evaluated like how you play your piano. Correct. So your personal playing dynamics is counted for also. So you guys also don't want that lah. But when it's in the audio recording, it is useful because everything sounds smooth, everything sounds balanced. Not so much flat, but more of equally heard. Yeah. So that's the second point. It's good for making a recording smoother, but not be the best for classical pieces. Because you go very soft, very loud. Correct. What's the actual term again? Crescendo. What's the going slower volume one? Yeah. Yeah. So it's the technique we involve. So for you guys, just turn it off. Yeah. Use at discretion. My last point. Tone. What is tone? So tone is essentially the color of the recording. So if I put my hand over this, it may sound a little bit muffled. If I'm not me and I'm someone else and I speak a bit louder, the voice may be a bit brighter. So darkness and brightness is how we refer to tone. It's almost as if, so the easiest example is if you record your piano, you put a blanket over your piano and then you aim the mic, it will sound much more muffled. That is what we refer to as darkness. If you remove it and then you put it near a lot of the strings, like where the strings are, because strings are metal, and then the components are metal, you hear a lot of the metal sound. That is generally what we refer to as brightness. There is no good or bad, but in your instance, you guys are getting evaluated, so clarity is key. Bass is unnecessary, I would assume. Clarity is key because they have to know what you're playing. So when you are aiming your mic, try to aim more towards the higher strings. Because bass in itself is naturally louder. So you don't have to worry about the mic not being able to pick up the bass frequencies. Whereas the treble are a little bit softer to be heard, so it will help you guys more if you aim more towards there. Yeah. So yeah, it all depends on how you position the mic before we even talk about adjusting anything on the software itself lah. Yeah. Reverb. So I just shared with you guys a reverb. So yeah. Any questions about the reverb? Yeah. Oh, later. Yeah, can. So okay. So I suppose you sent me already, right? Okay. So the issue that you're facing with this is it's too dry. Do you remember your settings of the reverb when you were recording? Okay, so I'll give this a pause. Show you guys. I mute the line. Okay. So mute the whole thing. No, but you can try putting higher intensity lah. Yes. So at the bottom of the reverb panel, okay, number one, you need to make sure it is set to reverb on output. So over here, reverb, you already did lah. So there was a bit, but it's not as strong.
Okay, so the intensity
Correct.
higher.
Yeah, put as high as you need it to be lah.
Okay. So this one can choose.
Correct. Yes.
Then the tone brighter.
Was you felt that it was a bit dark sounding lah. Yeah. So okay, number.
These are the things can adjust.
Yeah. So let's say you have already adjusted on the. Where is the soundboard?
Okay, I show you.
Okay.
Like this.
Okay. Maybe we share to the screen Okay. So right now the mic is at the far end of the treble side, right?
Yeah.
But where are the strings? Strings are here lah.
It's like the white cloth cover.
So the thing was already covering your strings lah. Okay. Number one, you can try take out the blanket first lah. Because I don't know how thick that thing is, it may affect the tone. I assume you use it for dampening effect, right, so that it's not too loud. Other people.
This is one of the reason. Another reason is prevent the dust from going.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so that could be a cause or reason why the sound is very dark. It's literally like me, like that, talking like that. So if I have something covering the mic, it's naturally gonna sound a bit darker. So you need to make sure that when you are recording, it is as unobstructed from your strings as possible, from whatever source you're recording.
So this is the tone.
Let's say all else equal, if I don't remove the blanket, I can increase the gain of the mic, right?
You may not want to increase the gain on the mic too much because again, yes, it is likelier to be distorted. So what you want is to make sure everything is unobstructed as much as possible to begin with. So one of the terms that I learned in school is you can never fix a bad recording. So you need to make sure that at the start it's already correct or as correct as it can practically be. Then you adjust afterwards. And also you don't want to do too much adjustments on the software side or even on like a real equipment. You don't want to adjust too much because then it will sound a bit fake. Depending on who's the one adjusting, depending on their taste, they may adjust it in a way that you may not like. So as best as you can at the source, keep it as dry or as dry as possible, as clean as possible, so that any effect you may add on afterwards may not give you like too much like bass or too much fake brightness, because fake brightness is a thing that I think even if you don't know, right, you'll hear it, you'll know it's a bad sound. It's very like unnatural sound. Yeah, so you can make sure that it's nearer to where on the treble side is one, but I felt that there was not a lot of bass, a lot of body in the thing. So I feel like perhaps you can move the mic a little bit more towards the middle. Yeah. So right now it's aiming on the treble side from the right with the mic front facing like that, right? If it's possible, I would suggest you put the mic on the other side and aim the mic more towards, direct front of the mic perhaps more towards the middle to the treble side, so that you can get a bit more of the body from the strings. And then when it's, cause one other thing is the microphone has a thing called a polar pattern, which is how it picks up sound. It picks up sound the best at the front and the worst at the back. Which is to say, if you aim your mic, even if the mic is like hovering around the low string area, it will not pick up so much. In that way, you can get more body. You still get your brightness without adjusting the thing at all. Yeah, so it depends on the practicality of it, but in terms of, that's why you see in a lot of recording studio, right, the piano is like nothing around, so they can position the mics wherever they want. All our pianos are at home. None of us are strong enough to carry any pianos on ourselves, so I understand there are limitations. So, but that's the general principle. You need to make sure like the recording is proper to begin with. Yeah. Following that, if you really have no choice, really, that's where the app comes in, Yeah. In all honesty, the tone control was originally meant for voice. So, for example, some speakers are based a lot more bass. So then that's why you move them more towards the bright part. Then some people, maybe their voice is very whiny, there's no bass. Then you move more towards the dark part. That is technically what they were for, but it applies to musical instruments as well. Yes. Okay. So the last three is the high pass filter. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. That is a good question. Okay, so when people in the studio, earlier in the slides I showed you guys how people do in the studio multiple microphones, right? It is not just a matter of left and right. It is a matter of how far and how near they are from the source. Naturally, the further away you are, you get more of the room sound. There are some famous rooms, like perhaps like Abbey Road Studios or certain studios in America, where the room sounds very good. So you still want to hear the piano in the sound of the room. So you put it further away from the actual thing you're recording, so that you'll pick up more of the room itself. There are certain mics that you specifically want to record the sound of the piano, you put it as near as possible. That is why gain control is important. It can be zero. There is nothing wrong with having zero gain. And it allows you to put the mic as near to the string as possible. The benefit of that is you don't hear anything else. Just like if I put a microphone nearer to my mouth, I'm less likely to hear. My voice is like overpowering everything else. Versus if I put it further away, you hear more room. If other things are like, that's how we get feedback. Yeah, so it has to be as near as possible within practical reasons. So like drums, if you notice drums, all the mics are essentially hooked on the drum itself. And then you have certain mics like the ones at the top where it's picking up the overall sound of the kit. But the thing is, if you're further away, you don't get the sound of each drum. But you do get a sense of space. So it blends in just as you would be if someone is playing drums right in front of you. So there are benefits and disadvantages to close miking. But close miking is a very commonly used technique in music recording. So again, that's where positioning comes in also lah. So if you're hitting like a drum very hard, like the crash cymbal and stuff, number one, the practical side of it is it swivels lah. So you don't want your mic to hit the thing also. So you put it a little bit further away. But you don't have to put it so near, or rather so far as well, if you want to hear more of like the kit itself. If you want to hear the sound of the room, then you have, in addition to the instrument microphones, typically we also have a mic at the corner of the room to pick up the sound, the reflections. So that's 7 microphones for one instrument. Yeah. So no wrong, no right. It's a matter of where you are recording it. Certain principles apply, but they change time to time depending on the space you're in. But it is always best to record as close as possible, so that you don't hear. Let's say it's like you're recording at home. Then if you have children running around, screaming, the closer you are, the mic is to the piano, the less likely you'll be to pick up them lah. So that's roughly that.
Let's say on the technical side, right? If we adjust the reverb to hall, does it help to resolve the close miking problem?
Yes. So it is, the reverbs are meant to give you a sense of space. But again,
so I can artificially
yes.
put it as reverb hall, but
Yes.
it's close to the
Correct.
sound hall.
Yes. So that is exactly the purpose of reverb, to simulate sound. So if you have no choice but to do close miking, but then it's very dry, very direct sounding, right? That's where having reverb helps to make it sound a bit more natural. Which type of it is up to you lah. But certain reverbs apply better for certain situations. Yeah, but for your own enjoyment, of course. Yeah, but for evaluation, that's why I need her to clarify certain stuff relevant for you guys. Yes. The straight answer is no. The direct answer is no. So there is the denoiser here. I'm sure you guys have seen before, right? That is absolutely not good for your piano recording, because number one, what they are picking up is stuff that may be from the piano also. So then it gets choppy. Then your piano does not play piano either. Yeah, so that's why different spaces have different requirements. There is high pass filter. Okay, so again, the direct answer is no. You cannot, if the birds are really insistent on being loud, you have no choice but to pick them up. The closest, I would say the only thing you can do, like I said, is, so you have to treat them like a single source. So how many birds do you have? Are they all in one space? Okay. Try and keep, obviously you can't move a piano, but can you move your birds? Okay. So why I say that is because if you can find a way to put them wherever you position, you deem the best position for your piano in terms of sound, right? Wherever it is, right? Make sure that your birds are on the direct, correct, the direct back of the microphone. So the microphones themselves, as I said earlier, there's a polar pattern, which is what area they are sensitive to sound. So on a typical pattern, it looks like this. A cardioid because it looks like a heart, so like an upside down heart. So wherever that falls within my fingers is where it picks up sound. The higher the gain, the wider the heart will be, and of course the wider the narrow part. Like this. So like the front lah. This is the front of the mic. Yeah. So the absolute back, the 180th degree, I guess, is the least sensitive. So wherever you position your mic, if you can put them at the absolute 180 parallel to where the mic is, you'll probably not hear them. Minimize. Yeah, because it goes back to the principle, we cannot fix the back recording lah. So no matter how much you do after the fact, even if you go to like a proper editing software, by the time you can remove them, right, you're probably also removing certain information from the piano, which will like compromise your recording to begin with. So best is to solve it even before you record. That's a general principle any of us who studied sound has to adhere to. If your recording is bad, nothing else you do will save it. Only thing you can do is to make sure that you pretend that you made it that way. So you play with birds in the background and you present it like, oh, you're playing some wild wilderness jungle, look exotic and stuff. So we make do with what we have. Yeah. So yeah. So be it birds, children, construction, whatever. Where you position your mic is very important to the actual quality of your recording. Editing, to me, in general, is always like the last resort. A very good recording sometimes do not even need any editing. Yeah. A lot of the singers we hear from like the 50s, 60s, upwards to the 70s, they have, number one, they go through very little editing for one simple reason. They were not invented yet. So whatever we hear is usually how it was recorded. Sometimes, like for film and stuff, they'll do like editing, so they'll stitch together certain things. But they are not necessarily what we call natural, right? They're part of the film. They're supposed to complement the film, what the film is about, not singing. For singing and for musical instrument playing and whatever, they are almost always as one take as possible. The modern 8-track was only invented in, not even modern, it's considered old, like in the 80s. Portable recording devices were limited to up to about 4 tracks up to like the late 80s, 90s. So a lot of the recording we hear from that era is just a recording. So that's how powerful proper recording can be without any editing at all. And its best thing is it's free. Just point and then record. So you roughly know the effects. Alright. Last 3 terms. Still muted. Yeah, okay. Last 3 terms will be high pass filter, denoiser, and popper stopper. So again, the MV mics were designed more for podcast situations. So a lot of times if you see any people speaking to like a podcast video, their mics are very near. Because they kind of have to be because if not you hear, because most of the time the rooms are not treated. You hear a lot of echoing. So it has to be quite near as possible. But the thing about that is when it's nearer to the mic, you get a lot of bass. Same thing. If I talk here now, you hear a lot more bass. When it's further, it's less. So it's similar thing to the closed mic thing. So when the nearer it is to the source, the more of the source you will hear and less of the other things. But it can build up bass, so that's a bit annoying. So with a high pass filter, it removes all the bass and then leaves only certain frequencies and above. On the app itself, you have about 2 or 3 settings. For you guys, again, not necessary because 88-key piano has a very wide range of frequencies, which also falls under what the cutoff is. So just turn it off, basically. If it's still too much bass, like what I said, aim it further away from the bass side of the piano. Denoiser through the combination of the high pass filter, the gating, like your bird situation, or like we're in the shop, we hear a lot of people talking and stuff. It does that only if you're talking. Again, a piano is a very dynamic instrument. It's a very rich sounding instrument. You don't want to risk affecting it. So again, turn it off. You can use it if you're in a Zoom meeting. You plug into a computer, talk to someone, then it removes all the background noise. Yeah. That also applies to the popper stopper. So a popper stopper is a very harsh limitation on the cutoff. So it's like chop, 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 which is again unnatural for piano. And also on piano, there is no popping on a piano unless the piano spoil, which in that case you have bigger worries. So again, for piano, just turn off. When you are speaking, however, using it as a USB microphone for speech, you can just turn it on. Yeah. Yeah. Turn off. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you went back, so it was different. So essentially, I don't know if you guys still got a photo. I remember you took photo of it. Whatever I did that day, roughly keep to there, can you? Yeah. Yeah. The birds thing, that one I didn't know lah, so that one I can't help you lah. Okay, so tips to remember when recording. Position the mic properly before recording. How near and how angle it is towards whatever recording will help with the recording itself. No amount of editing will help with the poor quality. Yes. Mm. Turn off. Yeah. Yep. Second tip, everything starts at low volume. So your headphone is low, your gain is low. Turn up until you hear something, and then you adjust accordingly. It protects your mic, it protects your ears. And then the last thing, follow the instructions on the manual. Microphone technique is one thing, but devices have manual lah. So if you can't figure out how to make use of the thing, number one, read the manual, or number two, find us at City Music. Yeah. I will see if I have enough name cards to give all of you later, but yeah, if you have any questions, just email me, or again, check with the manual, which is in the last slide. So all these are links to the manual, so you can go see the manual. Alright, so that is it for all my slides. We will do a quick demo recording later, so you can hear how to use the thing. Before that, any other questions? Huh? Okay, what time are we at? 5 o'clock. Very So this is dry. So I haven't done anything to the you can just play. I haven't done anything to the verb yet, but need to remember, if you want to hear it on the headphone while playing, take the apply to direct monitoring. The apply to direct monitoring. Yeah, so that way you can hear it while you're playing. Because if not, you can only hear it when after you record. So there are two. One is you haven't recorded yet, one is record already. So you can either choose to turn off and on. If you want to hear it while you're playing, then apply direct to monitoring. Yeah. No. Even on the MV7, you can, because the MV, you're gonna hear it on the MV7 itself. You need something long to come out. Yeah. Okay, so
So just now they want no reverb, right?
I haven't touched the reverb yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can play again. You can play again. Intensity was 0. So I haven't done anything yet. So yeah, this is how much roughly for you to be able to hear it, which may be a bit too much. Yeah, so because there is no reverb setting, you can't control how long the reverb is or how bright or whatever. You kind of have to adjust it to taste. You got no choice. So as you can hear, no, still got more. But because the problem with reverb is when it's too long, it may end up bleeding into the next note. So yeah, so it depending on taste, you may want, some people may want it, some people don't want it. So that's why just according to taste. But for the sake of letting you guys hear what it sounds like, I put that high.
What is the highest?
100.
You try 100. Can I try 100?
Got good, got bad. See you lah.
Can I try one more time with pedal? Just now we didn't play pedal.
Sure, up to you, up to you, up to you. So everything kind of bleeds and blends. Yeah, so it is a lot. Yeah. Reverb is essentially, for most people will use the word echo lah, because karaoke machine, that's the word we're all familiar with. But it is actually reverb, so you don't want to have too much. Right now it's even picking up a bit of my voice. So you don't want it at 100% lah. Especially for evaluation, I'm pretty sure 100% is also not allowed lah. So adjust according to taste. There is no correct amount, there is no wrong amount, unless it's evaluation lah. Then there's a correct and wrong amount. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I try another? We tried just now was classical period lah. We tried a romantic period.
Sure.
That need a lot of pedaling, and we see how.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Maybe it's lower. Now this piece has a lot of pedaling, so maybe I put slightly lower.
Can. Yeah. That's what you should do when you're at home lah, when you're doing the recording. Play a bit, hear a bit, play a bit, hear a bit. I usually only hear this kind of song when I play the demo song. Really good.
No. I play the dry one, but we play.
Oh yeah, sure. Got difference? What about that? Yeah. That is the correct word. So plate reverbs are generally a bit brighter. So it's usually very good in studio situation for vocals. So it makes our voice a bit clearer. It is usually also good for acoustic guitar. Again, because depending on the player, can get a bit muddy lah. So plate reverb is typically used for those. Whether or not you like it when you want to apply to piano, that's up to you lah.
What about the tone? If your tone put higher, brighter, tone your tone brighter.
The general tone lah. Okay. So right now everything is like off lah, then neutral and all that kind of thing lah. So we stick to plate reverb. Everybody want to stick to plate reverb? Yeah.
Brighter tone.
Can. So I set to about here. Yeah.
The treble is brought up. Do you hear? Yeah.
I think it's different, huh?
Yeah.
It's different. I think it's the tone. Not only.
The tone, the dark and the bright one.
So not only adjust the reverb, must reverb adjust the tone also. Tone. Brighter tone.
At the end of the day, whatever amount of setting you choose other than gain, more ping lah. How it affects the evaluation, I'm not too sure. But all these are the kind of things I guess good to keep in mind lah. Alright. Okay. You want to hear a bad recording? Okay. Lower the monitor first. Okay, slowly bring up to about the same level just now. On the recording, side of the app, this little button here will show you a quick guide on the mixing. So this portion here. So instead of going to the main menu to see, you just want to adjust volume levels, you can do so lah. So you can adjust how much gain there is on the mic. You can adjust how much gain on the input for this mic. You can mute and unmute immediately from this tab, so you can still see your camera angle, but you don't have to, and you can adjust lah. Monitor mix is essentially how much you want to hear lah. On this, on the MV7 Plus, you don't have to. On this, when you have multiple sources, you do that. The same thing applies to if you plug your headphone into like a mixer. You have to determine what you want to hear lah. Right, so this is the quote-unquote bad recording. Let's see if... Okay. Slowly bring up. I won't play it myself. I'll let my demo song play lah, so you can hear. I did not record the thing, sorry. Let's see. Let's hear what it sounds like. Up a bit. Fine. My mic mute. Unmute. So that is what a bad recording will sound like. Everything is fine. Nothing is distorting, nothing is what, but it's just not good lah. So the good news for all you guys is if you want to use the app, just turn off everything. That's the easiest way lah. So on this, the auto level you turn off, the limiter turn off. The gain adjusts according to taste. The tone just set to neutral because at the end of the day, you want to hear your piano, not like a artificial version of what your piano sounds like. The denoiser and the popper stopper absolutely needs to be turned off. And then the high pass filter also turn off. Alright? So, and then if you want to hear reverb on your headphone before you record, turn on the apply to direct monitoring lah. And then reverb on output as well. So, I never move at all. We hear what the thing sounds like. Mute my. This is what it sounds like. Yeah. So that the last part was a reverb lah. So that was like what 70 something percent. That was 78%. So obviously you never have to go that high lah. So for yours, I could hear the reverb a bit, but I guess you can go up a little bit more. Again, every piano is different. Higher reverb and brighter tone. Okay, I can try. 96%, okay? Okay. Muted the mic. So I forgot to record that again, but that was what you heard lah. Can I? That was straight output, yeah. That was from the headphone out. So it looks a bit complicated now, but what I have hooked up essentially is just for you all to hear the mic directly lah. So replace that cable with your headphone and it's the same thing. Right? Okay, so I suppose this is the main portion done. You guys have any other questions you'd like to ask?
When we purchase the mic, does
The stand is separate, but everything's on discount now lah. Yeah. So what they bought that day was the microphone and then a stand. What else did y'all buy? Y'all buy the microphone and yeah. So these two enough already lah. Both of them have it like what, a month, 2 months now? Quite a while lah. So yeah, you can share your experiences with them. With us, again, all the videos and slides will be shared with you guys, so you can reference after that as well. Any other questions about recording techniques, where to put, what to do, what not to do, or any app specific question? I'm here to answer until 6 o'clock, which is half an hour. Yes. Okay, so if you're referring to that, we do, but I highly doubt you'll be near your strings, because I mean, upright or grand, it's quite far away from where you can place the thing lah. So this is convenient. If this is an eyesore, we do have, you know, those podcast table bendable arm thing. Let me find an example. Ah, yeah, just like that one. Sure. So you can clamp that onto either your piano, but if your piano, of course, is too precious, something else at the side. So then you can aim there directly lah. But then it's not much different from having this. It doesn't take up floor space, but if you are not comfortable with clamping it onto your piano, then you still have to clamp on something lah. It's fine then, good lah. There's a rubber padding at the bottom here. Yeah, that works. So you can choose this. That is a bit not practical lah. Not practical lah. Unless you want to like tape to the top of the board, then closure or something. Yeah. But if not, I won't recommend it lah. You want something that's able to like bend inwards. Yeah, to get as close as possible. The Shure one? It's definitely more expensive than the stand. Yeah, it goes 360. iPad no, but it is no different from what I'm doing here, which is getting a separate iPad holder, and then I clamp onto the stand. The holder is not part of the stand. Yeah, so the holder is a separate thing. You can put the holder on the this specific one. Yeah, can. It's thick enough. It's screw on. Yeah. So this little knob here is just the adjustment lah. Yeah. So we have this. We also have one more at the back lah. So we do have multiple holder options you can consider. Yeah. Let me get the price for you. $148 before this. Yeah, so there are 2 points of adjustments. 3 lah. So here, here, and here. So yeah, can adjust like this. This one, if I can get my hand to turn the thing, you can also adjust the bottom. Yeah. Yeah. Any angle you might need. Okay, never mind. You get the idea lah. I mean, it is, when it's fully extended, it's unto here lah. So it's like bending our joint like that lah. So this is more or less the maximum lowest. Yeah. Here, here, and here. So 3 points. No. Yeah. Just wherever you clamp it onto, just make sure that you can reach wherever you need to point at lah. That one is about $40. Yeah. Yeah. For you guys, everything on discount. Yeah. So 15 for sure, 10 for everything else. Yeah. Just when the payment, just show the where you RSB can you. 15. Sure is 15. Yeah. 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 I mean, subject to existing promotion lah. The regular price is 10% lah. Yeah. Mute the this. Okay, this is what pros use to record grand pianos. Obviously, it has to suit the mic lah. But there are clamps. Anywhere that's not being affected by the strings, you can clamp onto wherever you want. These are specialized because they are small, so you can clamp anywhere on the piano lah. Yeah. There are certain mic sets that are sold like this. So you just buy already, you set there, then record to whatever recording stuff you have lah. For this, obviously it's gonna be a bit harder because it's a big mic, relatively heavy. But these are how people do it in the studios lah. Yeah. Do I have anything that can help you maybe do that? No. Yeah. That's where you need to buy a heavier mic. But then again, that time I told you how to like position to counterbalance the thing, still okay lah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that you cannot fully extend the arm lah. Yeah. Because if not the counterbalance gone. Okay. Yeah. So on an upright, you will need to tighten quite a bit. Yes. Yeah. So on an upright, the only place you can clamp at, I suppose, is here lah. Like the side. Yeah. Then this one you have to point it downwards and then the arm like that. I'm just worried, vice versa for you, is the arm is too long. Because the rest of the arm will probably affect the other strings. I don't know lah, but that is what I'm seeing lah. Yeah. Alternatively, I know your space is very limited, but clamp onto something else. So that when the mic just reaches like wherever you need to point at lah. Yeah. But keep the complete opposite direction from your bird's thing in mind lah. Yeah. I mean, that truly is the more important thing lah. Yeah, cause right now you can get by, right? Except it's just the birds that's affecting. Yeah. So yeah, either that or can get a stronger mic stand lah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay, I foresee one slight issue is if you do intend on clamping it onto your piano, you want on the lid itself lah. Yeah. Should be can lah. Yeah, I suppose. But you have to consider like your USB cable need to be done properly lah, cause you want to tangle. Right now you guys are considering, or rather you already have a USB mic, so it's kind of defined by how long and how short the USB cable you have is, which is the first point I made about the wired microphone pros and cons. If you need to change the length of the cable, you can buy easily from us, like 10 meter, 15 meter, however long. USB cable are kind of defined by how long the cable that comes with it is. You all bought a longer cable from Challenger, right? Yeah. But if you need to be longer, you'll need to get a longer cable or some form of extension lah. Alright. Anything else? Do you have any words to share with them about the evaluation thing, like what they have to take note of, the upcoming season or anything? I got microphone.
Yeah, just start with 5 minutes recording, then extend gradually. We usually
Recorded for your video also. So if you want to share any student with any your future student watching this, they can watch through the video.
share my future student.
Evaluation. You want to upload this on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Any questions people usually have for you, you can answer. If not, it's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Up to you.
I think that's fine. It's fine.
Okay, then that will be all for today. Thank you very much for joining. Remember to, oh, you guys want to take a photo? Can take a photo for us?